I think everyone knows that the Joker in the Batman series is a deadly character. Boy, is he a piece of work. Well, it ends up that the Jokers in this particular deck of Marvel heroes are equally deadly. So what I have here is I have 12 cards, and I have several popular and beloved Marvel heroes. And I also have 2 Jokers. So what we're going to do together is the 2 of us working together will use our intuition to just mix these cards. And then we're going to pair up the cards at the end. And unfortunately, any one of our favorite Marvel heroes, if he or she is paired with a Joker, they're gone forever. Sounds awful, doesn't it? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to mix these cards. So maybe I'll begin by just performing what's called a left-right shuffle. Now, if you were here, I could actually have you do all of the mixing and actually make all of the choices. And then that would make you solely responsible for the outcome of this. Okay, would you like left on right or right on? You want right on left? That's just fine. Okay. Now, if you know what a Charlier shuffle is, it's what I'm doing here. It's called top to bottom, bottom to top. It's a wonderful way of just kind of scrambling the cards. Okay. So I'll just perform it here. And as you can tell, it's a very, very messy shuffle in which we have no idea how many cards are being moved around or the order of the cards now. I think we'll go ahead and perform something that really, really mixes the cards well. It uses the Klondike Shuffle, but it uses it in a very interesting way. It does a left-right of the pairs. Now, you're free to stack those however you would like. You want left on right? Okay, that's just fine. And now I'm going to give you a whole bunch of choices. And as I mentioned, you could be doing this if you were here. I kind of wish you were here. Would you like right on left? Okay. And now I'm going to deal into 3 piles. Now we can just do 1, 2, 3 like I've been doing from left to right, or we can actually deal down into piles. What would you want me to deal down just to mix things up? Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course that makes 3 piles. How would you like those stacked? Left to right or right to left? Okay, very good. We can even mix into 4 piles. You want me to just deal down or across? You want me to do across this time? Okay, that's just fine. So we'll just kind of do this left-right dealing. How would you like these stacked? Left to right or right to left? We can do something called a leapfrog as well. This is where this one would leap over its neighbor. You just want to do a left to right, no leapfrog? Okay. Your choice. You're given, I guess, 4 distinct choices there. Let's see, we can even deal in, well, maybe I should ask first. We can deal into 6 piles. Now, would you like me to deal across or just deal down to build up these 6 piles? You'd like me to deal down this time. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so how should we stack these? Left to right, right to left, or leapfrog? You'd like to see the leapfrog. Okay, which direction? You want to go from left to right? Are you sure? Okay. So what it means is you leap over its neighbor. It's kind of fun. And you leap over its neighbor. This one leaps over its neighbor to the right. The same thing here. And then you decide how to stack. You want right on left? Okay, very, very good. Your choice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to deal out the cards one more time here into 2 piles. And now we're going to give you a whole bunch of choices. And these really are free choices that you can make. We're going to perform something called a swapping routine. Okay, so how this works is because we have 6 cards in each, you're allowed a total of 5 swaps. Well, what's a swap? A swap is where you move the top card to the bottom. That's one swap. And you can allocate your swaps across the two piles. So you could have 2 here, 3 here, or 1 here and 4 here if you'd like. So how would you like to allocate your 5 swaps? You want 4 here and then 1 there? Okay, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just 1 here, 1. And then we set aside that pair, okay? Now you have 4 swaps that you can use. You want 2 and 2? Okay, that's nice and orderly. 1, 2, very good. 1, 2, very good. Okay, we'll set aside that pair. You have 3 swaps remaining. You want all 3 over here. Okay, that's a little bit different. Say 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll set those aside. Kind of running out of space here. And then we have 2 swaps left. 1 on each. Okay, very good. 1, and then 1 over here. That's a total of 2 swaps, of course. And we'll set it aside maybe right there. Oh boy. Now concentrate here because your decision is going to decide how these cards are paired. You want the swap on the left or the right? You want it on the left. Okay, well these 2 are going to be paired together. I'll set them right there, and then these are paired together. Okay, well let's see where all of your choices have led us actually, and we're going to find out which of the Marvel heroes, very possibly one of your favorites, you've just killed off because you paired it with a Joker. So I apologize ahead of time if that actually happens. Okay, so how did we do over here? Oh, that's interesting. We have Luke Cage paired with himself. So no Joker. That's good news. What about over here? Oh, we have the Falcon. Okay. No one died there. Oh, Iron Man paired with himself, but not the Joker. Okay. I wonder how this is going to work out here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. These Jokers have been paired together. Do you know what that means? That means they annihilate each other. Oh, I hadn't even thought of that as a possibility. I thought for sure we were going to lose 2 of our beloved Marvel heroes. Well, it didn't happen. Just out of interest, it's probably not likely that we've paired these other perfectly. Black Widow is paired with herself, and the Ghost Rider has found the other version of himself. How in the world were you able to pull that off, making all of those free choices that you did? You must have quite the intuition. Okay? And I have this written prediction over here just to kind of confirm that I actually saw the future. I saw the effect that your decisions would make. Do you want to know how I could see that your choices would lead to this outcome? Well, let's take a look at the tutorial. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you how you can perform this and use these ideas to create any number of amazing mathematical card effects. Okay, so what you need for this, in this particular case, is I need 2 Iron Men, 2 Luke Cages, 2 Ghost Riders, 2 Black Widows, 2 Falcons, and 2 Jokers. Okay, and then I just had them in pairs. And so here it is, 2 Iron Men, Luke Cage, Ghost Riders, Black Widows, Falcons, and 2 Jokers. And that's what I've done down here. Okay. Now it ends up that you can actually read the order of the pairs. How they're stacked actually doesn't matter in the end. So there's no special order to those. Okay. Now once you've created your packet, what you do is you do a left-right dealing of the cards with random stacking. Now it is important that you just do one of these. Okay. So maybe they stack right on left. That's just fine. At this point, it's called a cyclic construction. Well, what's a cyclic construction? Well, that's where the cards have some kind of repeating pattern to them. So maybe in this tutorial, I'll just quickly kind of show you that so that you can see that for yourself. I know in an earlier tutorial I just kind of stated it, but okay, so a 2-cycle, this is a 2-cycle with cycle length 6. Well, it's a 2-cycle because there's a pattern that repeats twice, and it's cycle length 6 because there's 6 cards in each half here. So if you notice the jokers kind of paired up, and those the same position within each half here, within each cycle. Falcon, Black Widow, Ghost Rider, Luke Cage, and Iron Man. Okay, so when you close this up, this is called a cyclic packet, more specifically a 2-cycle with cycle length 6. Well, it ends up that cyclic packets like this can be randomly cut anywhere, and it doesn't upset that repeating pattern. Now, the order of the cards will be different. That's true, but it won't change the fact that there's a certain order to the first 6, and then that same order you'll see in the second half. Okay? Now, the Chardelier shuffle, as I've mentioned before, is equivalent to just cutting the cards at some location. So the Chardelier shuffle is a very powerful shuffle in mathematical card magic, and I have a separate video that shows you how to do it, kind of explains the mechanics of it, but you're kind of doing a top to bottom, bottom to top sort of movement of the cards. And now we're at the alternate Klondike. So an alternate Klondike is where you use the Klondike shuffle, and here you deal left, right, which is kind of cool with these pairs. So very good. And then you're free to stack left on right or right on left. It won't matter. Now, at this point, it's called mirrored. It's a mirrored structure. Now, what mirrored really means is like the top card here matches the one down here. It's its companion card. The next one from the top is going to be a Luke Cage from the bottom, and so forth. So it's like the reflection of each other. Well, when that happens for a packet of cards, something called the stay stack principle is in force. And so what that means is for every divisor of the packet size here is 12, so the divisors are 2, 3, 4, and 6. We can deal into that many piles and stack from left to right or right to left and not undermine the mirrored construction. Okay, so these are really free choices given by the spectator. They truly can decide, okay, should we stack left to right or right to left? Maybe they go right to left. That's just fine. You can even do 4 piles. And then something that I mentioned as well is instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can actually deal down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I guess I should have done 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I backed up. We're doing that one. Okay, left to right. Very good. And we can do the same thing for dealing out into 4 piles, but of course I'll need to deal 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I mentioned the leapfrog stacking, which is super cool, and this is where you can start from either end and you hop over its neighbor to the left. This one hops over its neighbor. Random stacking here. Absolutely unbelievable. And then we can deal into 6 piles, either across or down. And then from there you just deal into 2 piles, just like this. And these piles right now are called mirrored piles. Well, what does that mean? That means the top card here is related to the bottom card here. Okay, so they're like the mirror image of each other. Well, because of that property, it allows this swapping procedure to work, actually. And so since we have 6 cards in each, the spectator's allowed a total of 5 swaps. So it's always the number of cards in each half minus 1. So we have 5 swaps that can be allocated however they would like. So maybe they'll want to allocate a 2 here. 1, 2, very good. And that leaves 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you set aside the top cards as a pair. Okay. Now, we have 4 swaps that we can use. Maybe they'll allocate all 4 over here. That's just fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you set aside the next pair of top cards. Now we have 3, so maybe they'll do 1 swap here and 2 there. That's just fine. 1. And then 2 here. 1, 2. Set aside that next pair. 2 swaps. Maybe they'll do one on each. That's just fine. Set aside those. 1 swap left. Maybe they'll allocate it here. Set aside that pair. And then this becomes a pair. Now, if you play with that swapping procedure and maybe have the cards face up so that you can see what's going on, this swapping idea, all it really is doing is it's bringing those 2 piles into alignment. Because at the beginning, the top card here is related to the bottom card way down here, like I showed you, the Ghost Riders. Well, if you do the right number of swaps, what happens is this will go down a certain number of units, and then this one will come up. And then what will happen is they'll meet. They'll be matching pairs. And so if you perform the correct number of swaps, it always just brings those into alignment so that the new top cards match. And then you just perform that until all of the pairs have been set out. And amazingly, all of these will now match according to what we set up. There we go, the 2 jokers. Well, fortunately, they didn't get paired up with any of these wonderful characters that are loved by so many. So the characters are all safe. Oh, there's the sliding under the paper again. The only ones who got into trouble are the jokers themselves. So evil has actually destroyed evil here, which is perfect. So anyway, that's how it works. And then you can have that written prediction. That's just great. Here it is written out for you. And I encourage you to take a look at some of the other videos on the Hidden Structures channel. And in particular, if you watch the Hidden Structures Bootcamp series, it kind of gives you a gentle introduction to these ideas that I've been talking about, like 2 cycles and mirrored structures and so forth. So I appreciate you watching and hope you'll look at some of the many other videos I have on the Hidden Structures channel.